Hello, everyone. We are going to start the session. Please switch off your cell phones. Today, I'm going to talk about building rich media applications with Windows Azure Media Services. So for those people who attended the session yesterday about Azure Media Services, yesterday was about Azure Media Services, so the platform, the media platform for Microsoft in the cloud. We were talking about VOD workflows. Today we are going to talk about the client side, so how to consume the streams coming from the cloud and how to build players for mobile phones, for PC, desktop, and for tablets. So my name is Xavier Pouillard. I'm Senior Program Manager in the Azure Media Services product team. And I propose the following agenda today. I will start by doing a brief summary about what changed for the media industry in the last years. I will cover Azure Media Services. I will explain what is this platform as a service offering from Microsoft. I will demo the use of the portal. And then we will focus on the client side. So what is the rich story for Microsoft? Which SDK, which player frameworks are available for you to build your players? What is the support of media in Windows 8? We will look at also the Flash player, because Flash is everywhere, and you can build a nice Flash player, and we have support for smooth streaming for Flash, so we will present that. And I will also talk about what we did for iOS. We have also released a player framework for iOS, so for iPhone and iPad. Okay, so what was the change for the media industry recently? There have been a lot of change. The devices are really different now. We have 100 million of households that have at least a connected TV, right? Which means a TV that can be connected to IP and connected to the internet. 50% of people worldwide have a smartphone, and 19% have a tablet, right? And these devices are going to be more and more used to consume audio and video stream coming from the internet. And also something that changed a lot is the way people are consuming media. They are doing something else at the same time, right? 80% of people are watching TV and also are connecting to the social network, are doing some web browsing, are sending emails. So the experience, the media experience, have to be different now because of this new kind of behavior. And this is going to grow and grow in the future because we expect 10 billion of mobiles connected to the internet in 3 years. So that's really a very important trend, and the media industry has to adapt and to change the kind of services they have to deliver to their consumers. So the issue that raised is the fragmentation of the market. I will say that a few years ago, you have a video and you could play it on 99% of the desktop and laptop with Flash or Silverlight, right? It was quite simple. But the mobile browsers arrived, and they don't support plugin, typically, right? So you cannot use Flash, you cannot Silverlight, you cannot use Silverlight. They support HTML5, but HTML5 was not so good for the video. You don't have any specification for the video in HTML5 until recently. So basically, the market was using old-fashioned progressive download to deliver video to these kind of devices. we saw deployment of adaptive streaming, for example, with HLS on iOS, which improved the experience. And at the same time, we had these applications, right, coming on mobile devices. There is an app for it, great, which means that a media broadcaster or media provider or someone who wants to distribute media on devices has to build an application per device. So you need to build an application for Windows Phone, for Android, for iOS, for Xbox. So at the end, right, it creates a lot of formats, a lot of headache, right? And we think at Microsoft that it's an opportunity, in fact. It's an opportunity for a platform that can manage these formats for you. So the philosophy now, in terms of development for Microsoft, is to have this goal of delivering high-quality video on any device, anywhere and at any time. So we need to target from the connected TV, high-end TVs, right, with a 70-inch screen, to a mobile phone that has a far smaller screen. So we are going to more and more to be format agnostic. We developed smooth streaming a few years ago. We are now supporting MPEG Dash. We have also the capacity to generate Apple HLS stream. We support progressive download, and we are looking to support flash streaming too. Most of the protocols are based on HTTP. Some are based on RTMP, like Flash, and also, in terms of DRM, Microsoft has its own DRM called Microsoft Play Ready, which is supported on Microsoft device points. But we are also looking to support other DRM because at some point, for some device, you will need to implement a DRM which is different. So that's the philosophy of the recent development. Try to provide the best format for the device, with a good experience in terms of quality for the video, and also provide a way to protect the content. So in the last years, we developed libraries and source code to help you to develop your players. So if you look at the web, we have Silverlight. You can play back protected content with Play Ready on it, and we released two piece of technology. The first one is the player framework, and we'll talk later about that. It's basically source code. So you can implement in your Silverlight application to make your Silverlight application a media player. And we also released a client SDK, which brings smooth streaming to Silverlight. On Flash, we developed recently a plugin for OSMF to bring smooth streaming and Dash to Flash. On HTML5, we also developed a player framework which helps you to bring some of the features you find on Silverlight and Flash, like advertising insertion, to HTML5 players. That's for the web. On the applications, for Windows 8, we have also, like Silverlight, a library for Windows 8, and we have the player framework too. On Xbox, the same. You will find an SDK, you will find some source code, so you could have, the same kind of development on Xbox and Windows 8 for your application. And on the TV and set-top boxes, we provide a porting kit, which is called the Smooth Streaming Porting Kit. We have also a Play Ready porting kit, and we have partners that already done some integration. So for example, Samsung have support for smooth streaming and Play Ready in their latest TVs. Mobile, we have on Windows Phone also libraries and source code for you to develop application. On Android, you can use our plugin for OSMF for Flash to bring smooth streaming to Android. And we have also partners that develop support for Android, for smooth streaming, for Dash, and for HLS on this platform. And last, iOS. So iPhone, iPad, you can also reach this device by using HLS, which can be output from Azure Media Services, or you can use also some partners implementation to play smooth streaming with PlayReady on this platform. Dash is on the roadmap. I will talk a little about the announcement we did recently about Dash. Okay, so let's look at the cloud now. So yesterday I was explaining that on top of Windows Azure that provides storage, compute, database, we built a REST API dedicated to media. So I don't know in the room who has some experience with Azure. I mean, can you raise your hand if you have some experience with Azure? Okay, so most of the people, right? And who did test or used Azure Media Services in the room? Okay, so I will say 1/3 of people. Great. So we released the green pieces in last January. So that's everything to do with VOD workflow. We support ingest. We support encoding in the cloud. You can stream from the cloud, or you can get back your assets to use later on another platform. We support static and dynamic packaging, and you can protect your content, right? We also have an SDK for partners to develop their own media processor, their own encoder, their own origin server. And build on partners are the customer of the platform. Because we provide API and SDK, you have to build a solution. Microsoft doesn't provide a software, a SaaS solution, software as a service solution. It's a PaaS product. So customer or partners, we build solutions based on that, and we'll deliver the full workflow and the full solution to the customer. You can cache the content coming from Azure Media Services with Azure CDN or with third-party CDN like Akamai, Limelight, and Level 3. And then you can stream and deliver your files to a broad set of clients, right, from the mobile phone to the TV and Windows 8. So let's look at the portal, the Azure Media Service portal. So this is my Azure portal, and you see on the left you have a Media Services tab, and I created an account for TechEd. And so in this dash, I have the dashboard, so I can check the activity of my account. So for example, I could see, the number of the encoding activity, the input and the output activity. I could also see the number of jobs that are in the queue. I could see the task and so on. And I have a content tab when I can upload and manage my assets, right? So basically all the feature here can be done with API, and you have more feature with the API. But we provided this UI so you could test the service and understand how it's work and do the first workflow with the UI. So let's upload the content. I can upload the content from the storage, so from the blob storage, or from my local hard disk. So let's take my local hard disk here. And I will take this MPEG-4 file. So it's a single MPEG-4 file. And this asset will be named the name of the file with the term source in it. So I can know in the content tab which asset is it. So now it's uploading my content to the cloud. It should take a few seconds. It depends on the network bandwidth. Okay, so that's my content here. And yes, and you see the size of the content. It's not published, which means that it's not public. You cannot stream. You cannot get it. And I'm going to encode with Azure Media Encoder. And you can here select the profile of encoding. So you can ask to play back for iOS and PC, Mac. You have also some most advanced profile here. So I'm going to encode it to, let's say, H.264 smooth streaming 720p. So it's going to create several bitrate from my MPEG-4 files. So now my job has been submitted to the portal, and it's going to be in the queue, and then it's going to find an encoder and to process. So if I go to my job task, I should see the past jobs and also my new job here. So I have one job with one task, which is the encoding task. So now my file is encoding online in my data center, one of the data centers of Azure. It's going to take a few minutes, and I will be able to use it later for the demo. Okay, so let's look at Windows 8 platform. There is two ways to deliver media to Windows 8. You can target Internet Explorer, or you can do an applications on Windows 8. So IE in Windows 8 has, in fact, three flavors. The first one is IE 10 as in the modern UI. It doesn't support plugging, for example. You have IE 10 on the desktop that support plugging. And you have IE 10 on the desktop on Windows RT, so ARM processor. All the three flavors support HTML5. They are also supporting natively Flash. And we removed recently the whitelist constraints. So now, if you build a Flash application, you will be able to render it in IE on Windows 8 on these three flavors of IE. And Silverlight is supported only on IE 10 on the desktop. So you don't have support on the modern UI or on Windows RT. So most of our partners are migrating the Silverlight application as a Windows Store application. And actually, it's pretty easy because both can use the same technology. We use XAML, smooth streaming, play-ready on Silverlight. You can do the same on Windows Store. You can use XAML and smooth streaming and play-ready. So one aspect is how to bridge desktop and application for the end user. So I'm going to show you a short example. So I'm going back to my demo machine. You see that the encoding is actually at 30% here. So this is the IE on the modern version of IE, and I'm going to go to a French broadcaster, TF1. When I go to the tf1.fr, so it's in French, but they just say, oh, you can download your Windows 8 application, right? So the first things to bridge, it's okay. I detected that you have Windows 8. You can click here to download the Windows 8 application and use it. I can continue the navigation on the website.
J'allais oublier, Karine, merci pour le délicieux repas.
And go to the replay feature, for example. And you see here that the website say, oh, I use a plugin that is not supported on your version of IE, so I can open now from here IE on the desktop, so it supports Silverlight, for example. That's a way to bring the user to this plugin version of IE. Okay. But because we support Silverlight, we support Flash, sorry, in IE Modern, you can select, for example, some content. So I'm going to take some news. And the Flash player will play here without plugging because we have native support of Flash.
Être utile à Rémi qui dort mal à cause de ses factures, c'est lui proposer de...
But you see, this is a Flash player natively supported on the modern UI. So 3 ways to bring your content, and you can make the link between IE and the application and the IE on the desktop. And so I already downloaded the application, and of course, they develop a Windows 8 application, and you will find here, the same video, and you could play back with a native application with smooth streaming here. So you see same content playing now natively on the application.
Chez Primo pour l'aider à maîtriser son budget énergie.
Okay. So that shows the kind of development you can do to migrate your users to this modern applications and modern browser. So what we support in Windows 8, we support smooth streaming, we support now Dash. It's the primary media delivery platform. You can do three kinds of development. You can use HTML5 JavaScript, you can use XAML, you can use C++. And we provide a lot of features to monetize your content. And so I will show you later the player framework. We have some sample applications that show all the things you can do in terms of subtitling, advertising, to build rich application on Windows 8. So we provide the blue boxes as download. So of course, you have the platform and the media pipeline, which is part of Windows 8. The client SDK, you can download it from the web. It brings smooth streaming and Dash to Windows 8 for your application. And you can use the player framework, which is a source code for HTML5 or XAML that implement the full players, right? So the buttons, the graphics overlay, all the media player things. Engine is in the player framework, and then you will develop the top layer, which is the player application itself. So how it's work? So if you install and use the Smooth Streaming Extension SDK, let's say that you play a standard MPEG-4 file. The MPEG-4 file will be managed by the media engine natively in Windows 8. And Windows 8 supports natively H.264, Windows Media Video VC1. And it's going to decode and render the video. If there is some DRM, pre-ready protected stream, it's going also to decrypt it and use the Media Foundation interface. Now, if you play a smooth streaming stream, it's going to be a little different because we don't have support natively for smooth streaming in Windows 8. So, in this case, it's going to the Media Foundation interface is going to use the Smooth Streaming SDK, which is built in your application, to do the smooth streaming parsing and deliver the content to the decoder and to the renderer. So that's why it's a little different with smooth streaming. You need to use this SDK to activate this feature in your Windows 8 application. So that's for the smooth streaming SDK. The player framework is on playerframework.godplex.com. So let's look at that. So you see that my encoding is done there. If you go to playerframework.godplex.com, you will find this source code to build Windows Phone and Windows 8 players. So you could download it. And this is a package for Visual Studio. So you install it, and you get everything to build your Windows 8 application. We also provide some samples here to demonstrate the feature of the player. The source code is available, so you can modify it, and anybody can access and do their own version if they want. So we just released a version this week for Windows 8 and for Windows Phone. But basically, as I was telling, it supports XAML or HTML JavaScript application. We have also a version for HTML5 browser, and we have also a version for Silverlight and Windows Phone. So in fact, we have 3 different versions of the player framework, right? It depends on the platform. But the good thing is that you are going to find the same kind of feature in each version. It has also a plugin architecture, which means that people can insert new feature as a plugin and provide that on the internet. For example, you could add some plugin to manage a new kind of advertising server. So the player framework is on top of the smooth streaming SDK, right? It's between your application and the pipeline. In terms of feature, we support a lot of things. We support VOD and live streaming. We support subtitles. I'm going to show you that. We support advertising. You can do offline, so you could download the stream and play back when you are not connected. That's very interesting. Let's say for some Windows 8 tablet, and you want to download content and play back in the subway or in the train. Live DRM? Okay. So the question is, do we support DRM on offline? Yes, we support it. So you have two, I would say, two kinds of license when you deliver DRM license. We have persistent and non-persistent. You have to use persistent, which means that the license is going to be installed locally, and then you can access it when you are not connected. Yes, so that's supported. We support multi-audio tracks. That's very important for European market. You can have 3, 4, 10 audio track and select in the interface. We support Dash, DVR, which means network DVR. The server, the server can distribute live stream and provide, for example, 8-hour DVR, and you can go back in the time. I will show you that with France 24 later. And we support analytics, so a lot of things. I'm going to show some of the feature, mainly the red one. I'm going to show you in a demo now. So I'm going to create a Windows 8 application and go step by step to show you, okay, how to activate MP4, how to activate smooth streaming, how to activate subtitle, and so on. So you could understand how it's working. Okay, so let's switch to my desktop. Okay. So I'm going to launch Visual Studio and start a new project. And select, select not, I'm going to develop in JavaScript. So here I'm taking the Windows Store application template for JavaScript and selecting a blank application. Okay. Okay, that's my framework. So I'm going to add reference to player framework. So let's go to here, add a reference. And because I installed the package from the internet, all the libraries are available here. So I can select the Microsoft Player Framework. And you see that, in fact, the Player Framework have some plugins. One plugin for adaptive streaming here, one for advertising, one for analytics Dash, and so on. So this is the latest version just published this week. So I'm going to just select Player Framework here. Okay. And it should add in CSS here. Yes. Okay. So you see I have the library for Player Framework and I have CSS file. So this is the CSS file you could modify if you want to change the color of your player, right? So everything is can be customized here. I'm going perhaps to increase a little the size for you. Okay. And so I have my default.html file, and I'm going to add a reference to the library. Okay, so here. So this is a reference to the CSS and the JavaScript file, and let's here add the the code for the JavaScript on the HTML5. Okay. Okay, so I have a very, I will say, very basic player here that is going to play a MPEG-4 file. You see that here? So it's a standard MPEG-4 file. It's progressive download here, coming from Azure. So let's compile, press F5. Okay, so because it's progressive download, perhaps it takes some time to download. You see the download of the file. So that's my first player, right? In I would say 4 lines of code, I've been able to play back this MPEG-4 file coming from Azure in Windows 8. Okay. So now I want to add some new features. I'm going to add a playlist, right? So playing a few files. So I'm going to replace that with another one. Okay. So it's, I mean, little like the previous one, except that we created here a playlist with two files, right? 2 MPEG-4 files. They are coming from Azure too. So let's. Oh yeah, before launching the application, you see that I added some properties. So autoplay, which means that it's going to play back from when I will launch the application. I make the button skip preview, skip next visible. Also, the button full screen will be visible here. Okay, so let's launch. So I can put in full screen.
Sorry, I don't update like that.
Okay, that's my first
I'm sorry,
file, and I can go to the second one with the button. Okay. Okay, so let's add some feature now. I'm going to add the subtitles to the video. So for this, I need to add a reference, which is the Player Framework time text plugin here. Okay. So I did this library. I need to add a reference also for this plugin. This one. And I'm going to change the code, the JavaScript code here. I mean the HTML code here. Okay. This one. So that's, I mean, the same kind of feature. I need to add smooth. Oh yeah, sorry, I need to add smooth also because I did. It's a smooth streaming. So let's go to add adaptive streaming here. Okay, and a reference here to smooth streaming. Okay. So it should be able to play now smooth streaming. I added adaptive streaming and need to add also reference to the smooth streaming SDK. Okay. Okay. And so now I can use it, my source file. I can use a manifest, which is a smooth streaming manifest. So I can point to the manifest, which is in the cloud. Okay. So because I added the smooth streaming SDK, I need to compile for x86-4. I cannot compile for all the platform now. So this should solve the issue. Okay. And now, okay, so that's for my source. My source is here. And now I'm specifying a subtitle file, what we call a sidecar subtitle file. You see, I have on my hard disk, I have a dfxp ttml file, which specifies the subtitles. And so I'm going to add it. So this is the file here. So basically, it's an XML file. And let's remove that. And this XML file defines all the subtitles. So you see the time to begin the display of the subtitles here, the end, and basically the text for each subtitles. So that's a HTML file. So I'm going to add it to the project here, add file. So it will be part of my applications. Okay, it's no, it's not here. It's here. Okay. So now my file is embedded in the application, and let's compile the content. Okay, so you see the. So I should have some audio, I think, on it. So I had the possibility, because this is there are three audio tracks. I can switch from the English track to the director version and to the Spanish one.
Perfectly safe. Emo?
So it should
Emo.
This is the Spanish one.
Cuidado!
And I could also activate the English caption or disable it from here. So you could add audio tracks, you could add subtitles, and we are doing adaptive streaming here.
No estoy seguro. ¿Y tú?
Estoy bien. Levántate, Imo.
Here. Let's go.
And the technology is pretty smart, because
You'll see.
we just download the chunk from the current audio track. So if you switch, if you have 10 audio track, you will download only the audio chunk that you are playing, right, from the stream you are playing. So you will not download 10 audio tracks and just render one. So that's very optimized for the network boundaries, actually. Okay, so we have a player that plays smooth streaming. So if we go back to our portal, you see that the encoding has been done. So I can go back to my content and play back this stream. So I have now my source here, and I have my new asset, which is the output of the encoder, which is a 720p smooth streaming file. So let's select the asset, click on publish, and so now it's available to the public, right? And I have my publish URL here, so I can copy the URL and put it in my application. So let's replace the source here. And I will keep the same track, for example, the same subtitle track, but okay. And it should play my stream coming from Azure. I just encoded it.
Share in the serenity and joy of this beautiful day.
It's working.
As we come together to celebrate the commitment of these.
Would you mind moving your enormous phone?
You mean the enormously awesome galaxy?
So you see that with a graph here on the bottom that
Aren't you
tell me
young to have an iPhone?
which bitrate. And I have a good bitrate here, so I'm playing the high bitrate of the file.
Is there an app for that?
Search karate! Karate!
Yeah. Don't fight.
You think if they knew about the Nokia Lumia, they'd stop fighting all the time?
I don't know. I think they kind of like fighting.
The Windows Phone Nokia Lumia 920. Engadget's Reader's Choice.
Don't fight. Just switch. So that's for my subtitles. So player, smooth streaming. I'm going to show you now some samples from the player framework. So we have here. Let's close my project. This is really what I downloaded from this week from the player framework website. It's shipped with this sample application that show a lot of features. So let's compile. And so it will you can test progressive video downloading, playing back. So you can see playlists. That's what I was showing you earlier. Interesting features is the settings. So you can play a file here and test the settings. So for example, I want to hide or to show the stop button. I want to change the resolution indicator. Anyway. So you can test that in this sample application, so you could understand the usage of each setting. Okay, so that's for. Oh no, let's go back. That's the setting one. We have also play with DRM support, so it shows playback of protected DRM content. We have here a sample of a live stream. So this is France 24. Look how fast is it when I'm connected. This is the live stream, and it's supporting live DVR, so I can press here the button. I can pause, and I can go back in time. So I can go back in time here.
It's still really good fun, even though it's 20
or I can
years old.
join again the live with the live button here.
Retro gaming is becoming.
This is the live.
These lots went for over €12,000 each, and now
we have that, and what else? Yeah, there is a demo of TTML captions. So what I show you, the XML file, could be as a sidecar. So you could bundle the TTML file with the application, or the application can download the TTML file from the web. We support also in-stream captions, which means that the captions are coming like the audio and the video at the same time. It's a separate stream. That's really interesting for live, of course, for live content. And we have support now for web VTT captions, and so on. Invite you to look at this application. It's very useful to understand the features of the player framework. Okay. MPEG-Dash. So MPEG-Dash is an international standard for dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP. It is supported by the Dash Industry Forum, and Microsoft is a member of this forum and has participated to the specification of MPEG-Dash. We see more and more clients supporting MPEG-Dash. So the player framework for Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8 now support MPEG-Dash. This is the version from this week, so it's really new version. We're also working on supported Dash in our smooth streaming plugin for Flash. It is going to be released soon. And this week, I will say 2 days ago, we announced at Build that the new IE 11 on Windows 8.1 is going to support Dash. So how it's possible? I was telling you that the HTML5 standard was not supporting video. Actually, it has been changed because there have been 2 specifications added to HTML5. One to specify what we call a media source extension, MSE, which a manufacturer to add adaptive streaming to HTML5. And we have also encrypted media extension, which allow a browser manufacturer, a browser software manufacturer, to add DRM license acquisition to HTML5. And so it means that on IE 11 on Windows 8.1, you will be able to play Dash without any plugin. No need for Silverlight, Flash. It will work, right? So that's a very interesting proposition because you could really do premium content service on this. And the Dash we support, it is called the live profile, support live and on-demand profile. So you could do H.264 live or on-demand stream to IE 11. OK, so that's for Dash. Let's look at advertising now. So advertising is important because it's a way to monetize the content. Let's look at the definition of advertising and what are there. So there are the first type of advertisement is what we call linear TV, linear advertising. It's typically a video that is presented before, between, or after the video, right? So you have the advertising and then you have your content. Non-linear advertising are run in parallel to the video. So typically, it's going to be text, graphical banner, buttons, or video overlay. Companion ads, it's a little more complex. It can pair with a linear ads or non-linear ads. So companion ad here, you see, it's, for example, the fact that you have an advertising for Xbox, and then later you still have, when the linear ads is done, you still have the Xbox Live logo on the main content. So there are several standards for advertising. I'm going to talk about one, which is really the most used, which is VAST. VAST for Video Ad Service Template. So it's an XML file that tells the player what to play. Right? Most of the ad servers support this format, and you can have 5 kinds of ads: skipper ads, ad pods, linear ads, non-linear ads, and linear ads with companions. So that's an example of XML5 for VAST. That's the main architecture of the file. So basically, it says, okay, here's my ad server, and the ads are defined in the creative section. And if we look at one creative section, you see, so it says, okay, I have a linear ad. It's going to, the duration is 32 seconds, and here's the file, right? And I'm going to play a Windows Media Video file here from Windows Azure. Okay, so let's look at an example of a VAST player. So I have here a demo. So this is my XML file. I'm going to open with Visual Studio here. So I put this file on Azure. Okay. And so basically, it defined my advertising scheme. And you see that there are there is 2 files. There is one in HLS version and one in MPEG-4. So based on the player, is going to use either ads. Because I'm going to use a Windows 8 application, it's going to play this file, right? Which is an MPEG-4 file on Azure Blob. Okay, so let's open now the solution. Let's increase the size again. Okay. So I have my default. So it's a JavaScript application. you know, this is what I did previously. Basically, I have reference to player framework, and I have my HTML part here, and I say, okay, I'm going to play this content. So let's perhaps use another content. Let's use this content here. Okay. So that's a smooth streaming asset. And on the JavaScript part, I'm going to load the vast XML file from Azure, one to specify the pre-roll, one for the mid-roll, and one for the post-roll. And so I'm going to play my content, and you should see at the beginning, I think there is an ad defined in the XML file. So this is a pre-roll advertising. Then I will switch to my main content. This is my main content. And in the vast file, we define that 10 seconds after the beginning, that should be another ad. So you see 10 seconds after the beginning of the content, there is another ad. And then it will come back to my content after the ad. Yes.
Search one-trick pony. So
this is the engine to load the VAS file, but the VAS file here define really the. Oh, should open here. Define the logic, and the logic was there. Yes. So, to summarize, you have this XML5 stored somewhere in the cloud that defines the logic of the advertising. Each advertising, point on the file which is also on the cloud, and then the player is going to get the file and browse it, and then doing the logics, right? So the ad is going to be inserted by the player itself based on the decryption in the file. So the goal is, of course, here to monetize the content. So smooth streaming is used. You find smooth streaming based application for Windows 8 from major customers like Telefonica, Canal Plus, Orange, Mediaroom, and they develop, nice application on Windows 8 using adaptive streaming technology. So you will find in the presentation URL, so you could download the player framework, install the smooth streaming SDK, install the Priority SDK, and you have also a lot of applications and help on the web. iOS, we also provide a player framework for iOS. The idea is to bring the same advertising feature. So we are not going to touch the video stream. We are going to support HLS, which is natively supported on iOS. But we will provide source code for your player so you could have the same logic for advertising. So the same VAST file will be also browsed by this player framework, will be processed, and you will be able to do insertion of advertising. We also work on the performance transition between content and advertising. So in fact, we have a way to really preload the ads so you can switch from the content to the ad without any buffering and provide good experience to the end user. We are working also on providing key services for AES encryption. So you could also manage better the AES encryption from this player framework. So this is available for so on the web, and there is a link on GitHub, so you could get a sample iOS player from the web. Flash, so we have also a plugin for OSMF. OSMF is open source media framework, and it's a framework which is available on the internet for Flash, which is really used by a lot of customers when they develop a Flash application. And Strobe Media Player is based on SMF, so you can add smooth streaming to Strobe Media Player very easily. The advantage is that we support advertising, analytics. You can add smooth streaming, and I'm going to show you a demo of this Flash Player SDK. So let's go to my PC, and this is a sample page which is available from our team to demonstrate the integration of this plugin in OSMF. So here, if I'm going to build an OSMF player that plays a FLV file, right? So it's a Flash file. So let's preview an update.
Hi, I'm Sumner Payne,
okay.
product manager for the
so
open
that's,
source media framework.
I mean, the classic feature you
Today,
find in Flash, playing an FLV
about
file.
video on the web. How can I grow my...
So now I'm going to take my asset here, my smooth streaming asset, and change the source of the file. So I think you see that. So now I'm using the manifest, right? The smooth streaming manifest as a source for the player. And let's see if it's worked. So it's not working, of course, because Flash natively doesn't support smooth streaming, right? So we are going to add a plugin, which is the Microsoft Adaptive Streaming plugin. So the player, the Flash player, is going to download this plugin from the web. We posted the binary on the Azure storage. So it's a plugin for Flash, which brings adaptive streaming, which brings smooth streaming and dash feature to the player. So now I can preview an update.
I am delighted we could share in the serenity and joy
and see that my smooth streaming is playing in Flash.
To celebrate the commitment of these
would you mind moving your enormous
so you could
phone?
also play that in IE
awesome
on Windows 8, because IE on Windows 8 in the modern UI support Flash too.
Aren't you a little young to have an iPhone?
And you get adaptive streaming, so you get great quality
Copy bots.
content.
This.
The good thing is that we just updating the plugin also to support Dash. So I was explaining yesterday about the feature in Azure, the dynamic packaging feature. The dynamic packaging means that we can package dynamically when the client requests. We can output a Dash version or smooth streaming version or HL version of the stream. So basically, I have dynamic packaging here. I activate the reserve unit for on-demand streaming, which is mandatory to get this dynamic packaging feature working. So I can take the same smooth streaming URL. Okay. But to get dynamic packaging working, I need to request another format, which is the Dash format. So I had to the URL the request for MPD, which is the manifest for Dash, CSF. Okay, so this is my Dash URL. If I open it here, I will get an MPD file. This is my Dash manifest here. It's like smooth streaming, but I mean it's really based on the standards. It's you will find here a video track with the segments and audio track with the segment, but the syntax is a little different. So we generate that on the fly, and if I go back to my Flash player, so I have my Dash URL here. I can preview, and now I'm playing the Dash version of the stream in Flash.
As we come together to celebrate the commitment of these.
Would you mind moving your enormous phone?
You mean the enormously awesome Galaxy?
Search one
So
trick.
you have smooth streaming Dash in Flash. You could, of course, use any plugin for OSMF, like an advertising plugin. So you could really mix and use other plugins done for OSMF with your content coming from Azure. Okay, so to summarize the reach, as I was telling you, so we will need to update this slide to when Dash will be released for the players, but you see that for the web, we have Silverlight that supports smooth streaming. We will update to support Dash. Flash, we have smooth streaming and Dash. The Dash version will be released in a few weeks. And HTML5, I mean, we have progressive download support, we have the player framework, and with IE 11, you are going to be able to do Dash also streaming. For the application, Windows 8, Xbox, same kind of piece of technology. On set-top box, we have some porting kit, and we have also box supporting Dash, so they could stream from Azure the content. And on the mobile market, Windows Phone, it's like Windows 8, same kind of technology we provide. Android, you can use HLS on Android, coming from Azure. You can use smooth streaming, thanks to the OSMS plugin, and you can use Dash with the OSMF plugin too. And HLS, on iOS, also a lot of different possibility. HLS, if you don't need a DRM, and if you need the DRM like PlayReady, then the best is to use the player framework with smooth streaming, and we have implementation from partners for PlayReady on iOS. Okay. So resources, you have link in the presentation about the player framework and the smooth streaming SDK. On MSDN, you will find the documentation about Azure Media Services and about the smooth streaming SDK. And before taking questions, I invite you also to evaluate this session with the application and this code. Okay, so do you have any question on this client frameworks and applications? I think we have 10 minutes if you have any questions. And don't hesitate to. Yes, question. The question, do we have support for DRM on HTML5? Yes, you will have with the MSC, the ME, so the encryption media extension. So you will have that on IE 11 on Windows 8.1. It has been announced at build that it will be able to do Dash with protected content. Yes. So that's probably the future. Any question on this session? No? Okay, so thanks a lot for attending the session, and have a great TechEd today. And don't hesitate to ask me questions by email if you have any. Thanks a lot. Bye.